Glad Force Flex Max Strength now has bags with a 2 times stronger top for over-the-top strength. Like the kind of over-the-top strength you need when, breaks your bowl of buffalo chicken dip. Glad Force Flex Max Strength. Strong enough for all of life's garbage. 2 times stronger top versus 13-gallon Force Flex bags.
This is David Rubinstein, and he is the new owner of the Baltimore Orioles. Baltimore Orioles owner David Rubinstein says he wishes the MLB would have a salary cap, quote, the way other sports do. No. Welcome to baseball, guy. You've been here for 1 year. You don't get a salary cap. Also, take advantage of your young core, please. Thank you. This is not what I want to hear. Okay. All right. This offseason, so we're all going to start complaining about Juan Soto, even though we just made what? What did we do, chat? Say it with me. $12.1 billion in revenue. So this is really rich coming out of the mouth of a guy in an ownership group that just had record revenues. When your revenues go to record highs, your expenses will also follow. That is how free market capitalism works. I know you don't want it to work that way, where you just say what happens, and then it is the way you want it to be, but that's not how. It's a push and pull situation. There are more than just you involved. So, why do we not have a salary cap? 1, arbitration exists. Teams own players for 6 years after they're called to the major leagues. Football, it is 3 or 4 years. Basketball, it is 3 or 4 years. Do you hear the difference there? Those two have salary caps. Baseball does not. I'll repeat, at least 2 more years of control over every single player. That is why you don't have a salary cap. If it is mentioned in the next CBA, it is a hot button issue. No one's coming to the table. We're not even going to discuss it unless you are willing to get rid of arbitration. If you get control of 3 or 4 years over players, 2, maybe we'll discuss the salary cap. But somehow you won't want to do that. You want to have control and you want to have all the money. No. Secondly, baseball has the most parity of any major sport by far. Meaning, the variety of different teams that win the championship are much higher for baseball than it is for any other sport. I saw a stat. Now, don't quote me on this. I should probably get better if I want to be a reporter. But I believe the stat was like 14 of the last 20 years in the NBA. It has been a top 3 payroll winning the championship. We have the Chiefs going to for a three-peat right now. Like 2 years ago, we had the Astros versus the Rangers. So in baseball, this system, though it feels bad to see these numbers in vacuum, and I understand that, the sport is still the most competitive sport because of the nature of it. It is. It's the most competitive. It is. We're the most competitive sport. But like to hear this come out of Rubinstein's mouth. So let me just look here. Let me read this quote so we're not taking things out of context, because we're not about that here at this show. But I wish it to be the case that we have a salary cap in baseball the way other sports do. Maybe eventually we will, but we don't have that now. Rubinstein told Yahoo Finance during the World Economic Forum. I suspect we'll probably have something closer with NFL have, NBA have, but there's no guarantee of that. Why do you think that, David? I think David thinks that because David's used to getting what David wants. I think that like he says things like that without giving any of the nuance, like why it doesn't exist yet. And he just thinks that like if he just wishes hard enough, it will. But no, it won't. It won't just happen because you want it. And that genuinely pissed me off to a level. It blew my mind. Here's the way that it's supposed to work. A portion of total revenue needs to be used as an expense that goes directly to the players playing the game. That's the premise. Okay? It's percentage of total revenues. Right now, I think we're at like 48 or 49% of total revenues go to player salaries. That is pretty balanced. You're shooting for 50%. It's a 50-50, co-symbiotic situation. In basketball, 50% goes to the players. In football, 48% goes to the players. In the WWA, 20% goes to the players. That's a whole nother issue. But 50% has kind of generally been the benchmark because it's literally like half goes to you, half goes to us, and we'll figure this out. So that's the number you're trying to adjust for. As that number starts to go down, creep down, it goes to 45%, to 40%, to 35%. That means the players aren't doing a good enough job in keeping it where it needs to get through creative means. Salary cap would swing that crazy towards the owners. It would, just because of the nature of control in the league and the nature of how long players play for. So to hear somebody go, and of course, it's a World Economic Forum. He's like, man, it would be really nice to have this super advantageous to the ownership group system. I really wish we had it. No shit. But I really hope you understand why you don't have it. I know you've only been around for a year, and you lost the division at the end of the year and then signed nobody. So maybe baseball isn't actually the reason you own a team now. Maybe it's for other reasons. Man, I really get mad at owners, don't I? Thank you for your cheer, by the way. Appreciate it. Look at F1, only a few win. Exactly. You want parity? This is how you do it. Unless the players move naturally because the control has been limited. Right? But if players can't move around and there's a salary cap, then you're going to see the same 5 teams every year. It's just the way. We're going to turn you against capitalism. It's not about capitalism in general. Guys, I've done a lot of research on this. I think there are structures. For example, baseball is its own closed system. We are literally an industry that has a limited number of people because of the way baseball is. There can only be so many players. So it's like a great experiment on how does a smaller union work directly with high-value individuals to get pieces of the pie. This is free markets working. Players have the ability to bargain for bigger pieces of the pie, and they have to be creative, and then the owners have to be creative, and then both sides are being creative. And then they have it built into where they get to talk about these things regularly. That is literally like how you build competition. This is it working the way it's supposed to work. Having these conversations is it working. This is what it's supposed to look like, right? What you don't want is unfettered, unregulated, where one side just does whatever they want and has power of the other one. Now it's no longer free market capitalism. It's just end stage capitalism. Those are different, which is what the country's in right now, or moving towards really quick. Becomes a Ouroboros eating its own tail. Everyone's just using debt, which at some point debt runs out, and then no one can buy anything, and then everything collapses, and it keeps happening. So those are different things. That's for another different type of show. Hold on, let me just do my Jon Stewart. What do you mean? Wow. Okay. All righty. Moving on. Anyway, David, I'm sure you're a nice guy, but for the love of Christ, stop it. All right. Our last news story. Ichiro Suzuki, 3,000 hits, Rookie of the Year, 2001, 212 hits. He's an MVP. Is he an MVP? Batting titles. This guy's a legend. He's one of, if not the greatest Japanese players of all time, and one of the best players in history of baseball, and was unanimously... Huh? Wait, one person didn't vote for him? He was almost unanimously voted into the Hall of Fame. He received 199.9% of the votes, and we'll never know the name of the person that didn't vote for Ichiro, but this was going to be an interesting topic to touch on because I think there's some interesting angles here, all right? So the BBWAA, I did this last week, is the entity that votes for that votes in the Hall of Fame. They get a ballot every year. There's 10 guys. They get 10 votes on the ballot. It's much more than 10 people on it. I believe there was like 28 or something this year.
Glad Force Flex Max Strength now has bags with a 2 times stronger top for over-the-top strength. Like the kind of over-the-top strength needed when wrapping up a dinner party with the clumsiest guest in the world.
I'm sorry.
It's fine, totally fine.
I can help.
No need. Let me just grab these plates. Looks like everyone enjoyed the chicken. Let's throw those bones here.
Want me to hold the bag?
Nope, just toss in those remnants of the cake, along with my grandmother's vase you shattered.
And let me grab those candlesticks for you.
Not while they're on fire.
Glad Force Flex Max Strength. Strong enough for all of life's garbage.
2 times stronger top versus 13-gallon Force Flex bags.
Oh my God. Ooh, we have breaking news we will hit in a moment. But I thought it would be interesting because I didn't really know what are the requirements for even having a vote. And shout out to DK in the producer's room for finding me a lot of examples of guys that maybe are voting that maybe shouldn't be anymore. So here's what you need to know if you want to be. So if you want to be in the BBWAA and you want to vote on the Hall of Fame, here's the things that you need to do. One, you need membership into the union. I mean, or the association. So this is a group with their own rules and their own governance. You must be active or an honorary member of the BBWAA. Now, I don't know what honorary member means, but I'm sure someone gets grandfathered on. But you must be a member at the moment. Right now, the moment the vote happens, you have to be a member at that moment. So you have to be part of the group. You need 10 years of continuous membership. You must have been a member for at least 10 consecutive years before being able to vote. So basically, you have to get tenure. It's the same way like in baseball. You get your pension after 10 years of service time. You need 10 consecutive years of service time in the BBWAA in order to vote. So you've been around for a while, at least a decade. And then they have actually a review. So as of 2016, voters must be actively covering baseball or have been active writer in the past 10 years. So you either have to actively be covering baseball or have covered baseball in the last decade, which seems like a little bit too big of a length of time, in my opinion. But you have to have baseball be part of you have to prove it. And so every single year they basically look at the list and cull it based on anyone who is putting these hours in baseball, and says this change was made to remove voters who have not covered baseball for a long time, which makes a lot of sense. Now we have some really interesting people that are not actually that connected, who are barely satisfying these requirements. One, a gentleman named Alan Greenwood, the former editor of the Nashua, New Hampshire Telegram. He currently writes a blog about the Patriots. He doesn't even really write about baseball, but he voted this last year. He only used 3 of his 10 votes, and these are the 3 people he voted for: Ichiro, A-Rod, and Manny Ramirez. What? I don't understand. Like, okay, so I'm like, okay, Nashua, New Hampshire, so New England, right? But Red Sox, okay, so that makes sense for the Manny thing. But Red Sox fans notoriously hate A-Rod, so why is A-Rod in here? And then Ichiro's the low-hanging fruit, obviously. So it wasn't Alan's fault. But the other 2 are very confusing. Are we dying on the steroids hill? Is that what we're doing? So weird. Here's some other public Hall of Fame ballots that were not great from writers. This is research done by my friend David. I love that I keep saying that as if I'm like, if you get mad at him. Bruce Jenkins. Yeah, I know you can hear me, Dave. Bruce Jenkins, San Francisco Chronicle columnist. 4 votes: Ichiro, A-Rod, Manny, and Omar Vizquel. A lot of you don't know, Omar Vizquel's had some pretty serious allegations against him in the last few years. So that's another interesting one. A lot of people have just kind of like not addressed that and just not voted. Stephen Wine from the Associated Press, 2 votes, Ichiro and Beltran. You know what? I'm okay with that. Those two, maybe he's like, I only vote for the people that I think should be in no matter what. Like, I feel really strongly about them being in. I'm not going to use any votes beyond that. This one seems bad because he only used 2 votes, but those 2 guys got in. Or did Beltran get in? Hold on. I thought he did. I just realized I don't know for sure. Beltran got in, right? He did not. Oh. But he got close, right? Yeah, he got close. He did not this time around. He was close there at the end. Anywho, not this year. Okay. But he was up there. He was in the top 3. I believe it's Ichiro, Wagner. Was it just Ichiro and Wagner? Oh no, and CC. Yeah, those ones are obvious to me. I think Beltran deserves to be in too, but again, scandals aside, his are interesting. We'll see how it comes out.